Hey guys, Mike from Nerd Problems Gaming here, and welcome to Nerd Problems Gaming, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, we're doing a review of Vampyr. Is it worth it? Should you pick it up? Stay tuned. So I was actually pretty excited about this game when I first saw it. I'm definitely into like vampire-based games. You know, I'm a huge fan of the Castlevania series. I like vampire movies. I like basically everything around that genre, you know. Dracula is one of my favorite books, and so when I saw this game, I thought it'd be pretty cool to actually get to play as a vampire, and you know, so I wanted to pick it up. Now, I never actually picked it up when it first came out, but I had recently picked up the Game Pass through Xbox One, and it was actually one of the games on there, so I was like, you know, what better time to actually pick it up, you know, when it's basically free almost, you know, so I picked up the game, downloaded it, and did a playthrough, and so basically you play as Jonathan Reed, who is a doctor, specializes in like blood transfusions, and basically he gets turned into a vampire. And while this is going on, it's basically during right after World War I, kind of during that time period, and it's during the Spanish flu epidemic that happened all over the world. And so it's really centralized in London, in Britain there, and so your kind of job as Jonathan is to figure out how you can cure this epidemic, and then alongside of that, you know, why are you a vampire now? You know, who turned you into a vampire? Is the flu epidemic related to the breakout of vampires in the area? And your job is to kind of solve that mystery as you play and find that cure as you go through it. So this game is kind of like a mix between an action RPG and then kind of like a murder mystery type game as you play. And so the dynamics are kind of similar to like a Mass Effect game. You know, there's all kinds of games like this, but basically what happens is like you'll kind of have like a decision wheel every time you talk to people, and you can ask them questions, you know, change how you respond to things, and then it kind of, you know, leans you towards more evil or more good, you know, depending on your decisions. And so with this action RPG element, you know, one of the biggest ways that you actually get experience is by, you know, eating the people, basically sucking the blood, draining the blood of, you know, the people throughout the different districts in London. So, you know, as you find out more about people, kind of uncover their story, you're going to gain more experience. And then if you do decide to basically kill them, you know, suck their blood, you're going to get a lot of experience when you do that. But you get more based on how much you've found out about them, kind of unraveling more of the mystery as you play through the game. Now, for me, like, that sounds really cool, but execution wise, I don't know, not so much. You know, as I played through this game, you know, each one of the characters that you can learn more about, kind of get more of their back history and their backstory. Like, it's really intricate, it's really in depth. They went to a lot of detail with this game, and that's really cool. But for me, just a lot of the stories weren't really that interesting. You know, a lot of them didn't really tie into, you know, the main storyline that much, kind of little bits and pieces here and there, but they weren't really like enough to draw me in. So I wasn't really excited about finding out more about this person. I was more just kind of like, cool, I want to find out more about this person, so I'm going to get more experience when I actually take them out, right? So that was kind of part of it that, you know, brought me a little less excitement, I guess, playing this game. You know, I really like the battles, like the action RPG part of this game is really cool. So I like that a lot. And so as you're playing, you get different like vampire abilities that you can learn and develop. You get special powers doing that. On top of that, you're going to get a bunch of different weapons, different guns that you can use, kind of have two hands that you're using, holding different weapons. So you can kind of customize your play style, and you'll get different components that you can upgrade these various weapons and items as you play the game. So again, really cool concept, but when I played it, I just found myself using kind of the same 3 or 4 weapons the entire game. And so I just kind of used those, upgraded them, and never really switched anything out. So, and I kind of felt like it was really hard to distinguish between what better weapons were better than others. You know, certainly there's stats, but then it's also based on like how you level up those weapons. And it's like, do I want to spend these resources to upgrade these weapons? But it's really hard to tell if this one's actually even better. So am I just wasting my time doing all of that? So it wasn't kind of like a clear distinction where you get, you know, new weapons as you play through the game, and then this one is definitely clearly better than this one. It was just really hard to tell in that playstyle. So like I said, I ended up using the same weapons myself the entire game, and so that kind of took away from it, where I think that there's probably a lot of customization you could do with that. It would be a really cool feature, but just deciding what was actually better was really hard, so I just didn't even really do it as I played. You know, again, like I said, also as you're playing, the game doesn't really fully explain kind of the good and evil type mechanics. You know, when you kill people and drink their blood for experience, you know, they die, and then that affects kind of like the health of the different districts that you're in. But they don't fully really explain how that works either. And so again, you know, that's part of the maybe enjoyment, I guess, as you play the game. But I know for me, I got to a point where, you know, I had a few people where I was going to max out the experience when I actually took them out, decided to do that, and then it ended up impacting the like district where everybody else in the entire district died. And so it was really just out of the blue, and it's like, well, cool, if I would have known how that actually worked, I wouldn't have done that. So it was kind of annoying in that sense. And, you know, the game is pretty long, and it wasn't really compelling enough where it's like, for me, it's like I'm never going to replay this game. So it's like, okay, well, that little mistake, it kind of ruined a big portion of the experience for me, I felt like. And it's like, well, and I'm also never going to play this game again because it's not that compelling for me to actually want to do that. And so, you know, again, within the game, there's actually different endings that you can unlock, and it's the same kind of thing, right? It's based on how you play, you know, who you kill, who you don't kill, are you good, are you evil, your choices throughout the game. And so again, that's really cool, but for me, like, the game itself isn't compelling enough for me to want to play it multiple playthroughs. So it's like I'm never going to actually go back and get those other endings because it was kind of a struggle to actually get to the first ending, you know, where I kind of reached a point while playing through the game where it was just like, I don't really care anymore. Like, I just kind of want to finish the game. So there's areas where, you know, I could have had dozens of more conversations with people, learn more of their backstory, been able to, you know, take them out, gain more experience, different things like that. But I just was like, I don't really care about any of these people. Like, their stories is just okay. You know, yes, there's a lot of depth to them, but they didn't really draw me in, and it's like, I don't really care about these people at all. You know, so it wasn't worth my time to continue to find out about them and kind of unlock more of the backstory and the lore of the game. So, you know, again, there's a lot of this game that I do like. There's, you know, different things that I don't like, which kind of made it frustrating. You know, the graphics is another thing. Like, at some points they were really good and really had high detail on the faces, the expressions, and then other times they're just really crappy and like not well done, and it would kind of get like blurry. And I think that was probably part of the effect of the game, but it just looked weird. You know, for example, when you're having conversations with people, like, a lot of times, you know, they'll move around, they'll have expressions, they'll have gestures and different things like that, but while you're kind of deciding on what to say to them, they continue to do that. So they're just kind of sitting there in silence, moving around, and it's really weird and distracting, you know, when you're playing. So it's like, when they're actually talking, that looks cool, but when they're not, it's really awkward and weird seeing people do that within the game. So, you know, again, it's just kind of little things like that. The game has really long loading times as well while you play. So again, not a deal breaker, but there were times where I'd maybe open a door and it would go into a different area that required a load, and that would take, you know, 2 or 3 minutes to happen. And then it's like, I didn't actually want to go in there, so I have to turn back around and go back outside again. go through another 2 or 3 minutes of waiting around for the game to actually load to go to the next area that I wanted to. There's even times, again, I accidentally pushed the button too fast. I wasn't facing the door, but accidentally pushed the button and then went back through again. So I had to repeat this process a couple times. And so different things like that, where when the loadings are really incredibly long in various parts, that can certainly be frustrating. And there's also times where the game would kind of stop mid gameplay and then start loading and then continue on the gameplay. So I might be fighting like vampire battles with other vampires, and you know, the game freezes, starts to load, sits there for a minute, and then jumps back into the fray, you know, mid-fight. And so that was kind of a little weird. I wish they would have fixed that aspect of the game. But, you know, overall, it's definitely a good game. You know, I think you'll enjoy it if you play it. For me, it just got a little bit old. Like I said, there's a lot that I liked about the game. Then there are other aspects that I just didn't like. So, I mean, I don't usually give games like a number rating on this channel, but I would say probably around like a 6 to 7, you know, out of 10. So there's a lot of good aspects. I think it's worth a playthrough. I think for me, if I would have bought the game, you know, at full price, 50, 60 bucks, I probably would have been a little disappointed. But since I picked it up through the Game Pass on Xbox One, you know, I increased my membership by $5 a month. Woo. You know, so if I got to play the entire game for an extra $1 or $2 a month, instead of paying full price, yeah, it's definitely worth it. But I would maybe think twice about picking it up at full price. Maybe get yourself a used copy, or again, wait till the price drops on the game if it hasn't already, because again, it was enjoyable, but not really the best thing ever in my opinion. But you know, definitely let me know in the comments below how you guys felt about this game. Do you like this game a lot? Have you gone through and gotten all the different endings? Maybe I just was on a bad version, you know, of the storyline, and so I didn't get excited by it. I don't know. You know, let me know in the comments below if you've played this game, if it looks like something you want to pick up, or again, if you really enjoy this game, definitely let me know that as well in the comments below. But again, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel as well and turn on the bell notifications to get the latest updates of new videos on everything nerdy that we put out here. And if you'd like to help us, you know, pick content, support the channel and more, certainly become a patron of ours over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. Again, that's nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And then if you'd like to plug into our live streams and our Let's Plays that we do over on Twitch, certainly follow us there as well over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. Again, that's nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.